Good day everyone, I'm Mark DC Lusong and I'm going to discuss the chapter 6, When Technology and Humanity Cross. So pag narinig natin yung word na technology and humanity cross, ano yung pumapasok sa mga isipan natin? Any idea? So pag sinabi nating technology and humanity cross, ito yung pagkasama ng or yung parang interaction ng technology and humanity na sa isang lugar. Ginagamit ng tao yung technology para makakatulong sa atin and also nakakaapekto rin yung technology sa mga human. So, i-discuss natin yan. So, this is the objectives of this chapter. At the end of this unit, the students are able to examine human rights in order to uphold such rights in technological ethical dilemmas, evaluate contemporary human experience in order to strengthen and enlighten the human person functioning in society. So bago nga i-discuss yung when technology and humanity cross, usapan muna natin si William Nelson Joy kasi part din siya ng topic na ito or chapter na ito. So William Nelson Joy, born on November 8, 1954, commonly known as Bill Joy, is an American computer scientist. Joy co-founded Sun Microsystem in 1982. He is widely known for having written the essay Why the Future Doesn't Need Us. So, bakit nga ba? Pag-usapan natin yan mamaya. Kung bakit nga naisulat niya yung essay na Why the Future Doesn't Need Us. So, where he expressed deep concerns over the development of modern technologies. So, he explained that 21st century technologies, genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics, or GNR, are becoming very powerful, that they can potentially bring about new classes of accidents, threats and abuses. So he further warned that these dangers are even more pressing because they do not require large facilities or even rare raw materials. Knowledge alone will make them potentially harmful to humans. Joy argues that developing technologies provide a much greater danger to humanity than any technology before it has ever presented. So dito nga is parang lumalabas na yung mga tao sa mundo is nagiging endangered species na rin. Because sa mga bagong technologies and inventions na lumalabas, parang nilalamon na tayo. Parang nawala na rin tayo ng karapatang gumalaw para sa isang bagay na yon because of the technology. So in particular, he focuses on genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics. He argues that 20th century technologies of destruction such as the nuclear bomb were limited to large movements or governments. Due to the complexity and cost of such devices as well as the difficulty in acquiring the required materials, he uses the novel The White Plague as a potential nightmare scenario in which a mad scientist creates virus capable of wiping out humanity. So ulitin ko nga, ang tandaan natin, sinasabi ito, scientist or mad scientist creates a virus capable of wiping out humanity. So because of the technology that we have today or inventions, ang mga tao ay nagiging endangered species na. Sabi nga, greater danger to humanity, na parang gusto na puro na lang technology ang magpapagana sa paligid. Also, nagiging threat na rin ang mga new technologies na pwedeng magamit sa mga masamang gawain. Kagaya ng mga hacking, ganun. So, dito nga, endangered species na tayo. For example natin dyan is yung bagong labas ngayon na nilabas ngayon ng GMA, which is the AI Sports Anchor. So, ang galing kasi meron na silang nilabas na kasi bago sa atin through technology, but meron itong epekto na masama rin kasi unti-unting nawawalan ng trabaho yung ibang tao. Doon tayo nagiging endangered or nagiging danger ito sa mga tao because nilalaman na tayo ng technology, parang gusto na puro ito technology na lang yung magpapaikot, magpapagana sa paligid natin. So, tama, nagiging maganda yung mga bagong invention na yon, technology, ginamit through AI, ginamitan ng mga face, nakakapagsalita daw sila ng Tagalog, si Maya and Marco, yon. So, pero malaking ano to, malaking parang malaking problema din ito sa mga tao nagtatrabaho in broadcasting kasi possible na pati sila is mawalan dito ng trabaho. So yung sinasabi ni ni William Nelson Joy na nagiging threat nga sa atin yung technology ngayon. So next natin is ethics and technology. So unlike business ethics, ethical technology is about ensuring there is a moral relationship that exists between technology and user. So pag sinabi nating moral relationship, ito yung value kung paano mo pahalagahan yung isang bagay. So kung paano mo gagamitin yung technology ngayon. Sa mabuti ba, sa masama, iisipin mo, in-invent mo to because we're here in the 21st century. But ano ba yung magiging epekto nito sa paligid natin? So that dyan papasok yung more parang ethics natin sa technology. So we have here the emerging ethical dilemmas in science and technology. So first is health tracking and the digital twin dilemma. So health tracking and digital twin dilemma. Sinasabi itong, should organization be able to create your own twin in code and experiment on its to advance health care initiatives? And when does that become is a practice of exploitations? So if sinabi natin digital twin dilemma, ito yung pagka-create ng sarili mo o pagka-create ng replica mo. Yung mga bawat details sa katawan mo, mga sakit mo is para makakopy rin siya. Then also, dahil sa replica na yun, papasok din yung health natin. Malaki matitipid natin kasi possible na yung mga medicines sakit na merong sakit mo yung mga medicines is pwedeng i-try muna sa replica mo if magiging mabisa ba siya. So because of that, it's called digital twin dilemma. Yung replica ng self mo na can-create ng mga scientists because of the technology. Next is neurotechnology and privacy. So neurotechnology is nothing new, but new advances allowing the use of technology to gradually change behavior or thought patterns poses severe question about privacy. So pag sinabi natin neuro, ano nga ba yung neuro? Pag sinabi natin neuro, it's just about your brain or mind. Neurotechnology and privacy. So dyan sa neurotechnology, ito yung invention na para siyang headband siya na pwedeng makita or ma-view yung brain mo kung paano siya mag-function, ano yung process na nangyayari sa utak mo. So parang nangyayari dyan is wala ka ng privacy sa panlabas mong anyo or sa physical appearance, pati ba naman sa sariling process o paano gumana yung utak mo is mawalan ka rin ng privacy because of those technology na invent. So yan yung neurotechnology and privacy. So headband that used to see the process or how you work your brain is. So next natin is genetic engineering. While possessing great potential for human health and recovery from damaging genetic mutations, there are considerable ethical considerations that surround the editing of human genome. So ang galing pagka may mali sa genes mo, because of the technology o sinatawag natin genetic engineering is pwede nilang i-arrange yung gene mo or pwede nilang ayusin. So, example natin, pwede rin siya sa mga living things na meron sa paligid natin. For example, sa yung sa puno, di ba? Kadalasan, dinudutungan siya ng ibang, kaya puno ng bayabas, tututungan mo ng parang sanga ng mangga. So, because of genetic engineering is na-arrange yung genes o pwede nilang ayusin yung genes na meron ka. Next is the weaponization of technology. While there is a lessened chance for loss of life, there are sincere ethical problems with weaponizing technology. So, at what point do we trust our technology to fight a war for us? So, dyan naman is, pwede dyan mangyari sa weaponization of technology is, yung technology ginagamit as the equipment sa war. For example, pwedeng i-hack ng isang bansa, si China, galit siya kunyari kay, sino anong bansa ba? Si China, kunyari kaaway niya si Russia. Pwedeng i-hack ng China yung system ng country na yun. And because of that, para pwede lang makuha yung mga informations, ano meron sa bansa na yun, pabagsakin. Nagiging way din yung technology para magamit sa war. O dyan yung papasok yung pinakamadalas nangyari is yung hacking or hack system of one country. So that's the 4 emerging ethical dilemmas in science and technology. First is health tracking and the digital twin dilemma. Second, technology and privacy. Third, genetic engineering. And fourth, weaponization of technology. So, ethical decisions in technology should not be taken lightly. If we believe that technology can help to solve the world's problems, addressing the ethics involved is the only way to us get there. So, next natin dyan is yung 5 ethical issues and technology. So, ano nga ba yung 5 ethical issues na yan sa technology natin? Excuse me. So, first, misuse of information. So, information, one of the primary ethical dilemmas in our technologically empowered age revolves around how business use personal information. As we browse internet sites, make online purchases, enter our information on websites, engage with different business online, and participate in social media, we are constantly providing personal details. Companies often gather information to personalize our online experiences. But to what extent is that information actually impeding our right to privacy? So, dito nga sa misuse of information, kagaya na sabi dito, if we browse an internet sites, makes online purchase or mo-order tayo through online, once na nagpi-fill up tayo ng mga form, like hinihingi yung pangalan natin, birthday, edad, doon pa lang yung privacy natin is nakukuha nila na pwede rin mahak tayo or magamit yung information na meron tayo sa masama. For example, umorder ako ng sapatos through online and may need fill upan. After ilang minuto magugulat ka lang may magte-text sa'yo, you win 1 million pesos. Doon pa lang parang nalaman na yung privacy mo, yung number mo, magte-text doon. Also sa email mo or sa Google mo, bila na lang may magdo-notif na merong will. Pag pinindot mo, mananalo ka ng iPhone, pera, ganun. Doon pa lang, sa misuse of information is yung privacy natin, sa sarili natin, is nakukuha nila. O yung mga personal details na meron tayo. Diyan sa misuse of information. Next is the misinformation and deepfakes. So, the effect created polarization that has had wide-reaching effects on global economic and political environments in contrast to how information was accessed prior to the internet. So we are constantly flooded with real-time events and news as it breaks. Celebrities and political figures can disseminate opinions on social media without fact-checking, which is then aggregated and further spread 69 despite its accuracy or inaccuracy. So, dito naman is misinformation and deepfake. So, pag sinabing misinformation, agad papasok na yung mga fake news na pinapangunahan yung kunyari, ako, artista, concert ako sa Pilipinas. But, because of the misinformation, is gagawa na ng ibang yung mga hindi yung parang ginagamit yung masama yung social media. Gagawa sila ng fake news na ito ganyan ganon ang magko-concert dito. For example, si Renz Abando ng basketball ng Gilas Pilipinas, 'di ba? Ang daming fake news na lumabas na kaya siya kukunin daw siya ng Golden State Warriors, nakipag-usap pa daw sa kanya yung coach ng Golden State Warriors, 'di ba? Doon pa lang sa And also sa deepfakes. At yung editing ng face. Boses niya, kunyari, boses niya pero mukha ko yung gagamitin. So, dito nga, for example, is yung sa isang kaklase natin or klase namin, ginamit yung sarili niyang reporting or demonstration. Siya yung nagsasalita doon. But yung picture na ginamit is sa isa naming kaklase. So, doon papasok yung misinformation and deepfakes. Next is lack of oversight and acceptance of responsibility. So, most companies operate with a hybrid stack comprised of a blend of third-party and owned technology. As a result, there is often some confusion about where responsibility lies when it comes to governance, use of big data, cybersecurity concerns, and managing personally identifiable information or PII. So, whose responsibility is it really to ensure that it is protected? If you engage a third party for software that process payments, do you bear any responsibility if credit card details are breached? So, some companies ay nagpapatakbo using those hybrid stack or application and blend of third party o yung mga nangangasiwa sa application na yon. So, by that, nagkakaroon ng lituhan and problem. Example is yung mga issues na sa isang company is possible na lumabas kagaya ng mga financial issues. So, we need to become responsible pagdating sa isang business o sa mga company na in future ay maging workplace din natin if we use hybrid stack. So, wag natin basta pagkakatiwala. Kailangan natin maging responsable sa kung anong meron tayo. Huwag natin pagkakatiwala lang sa technology yung isang bagay na yon kasi possible na tayo rin yung mapasama sa balang araw or sa mga magiging output ng ginagawa natin is pumangit because of those kasi inaasa natin sa technology ngayon. Next is use of AI. Number 4 yan. Facial recognition, replacement of jobs, health tracking, bias in AI technology. So, ano nga ba yung AI? So, AI is artificial intelligence or yung computer natin ngayon. So, first is facial recognition. Alam naman natin yung facial recognition ngayon is one of the fastest way para makapag-login. Also sa mga groceries para makapag-buy is facial recognition na lang yung ginagamit. So what if may makapag-invent, ginamit sa masama yung technology, may makapag-invent na or makapag-create sila ng application na once na finish yung mukha mo is lalabas yung information mo or yung mga personal details mo. Imagine, yung personal details mo is nakuha lang tinapat sa mukha mo, yung camera. So, doon mapapasama ka kasi pwedeng magamit sa masama yung personal details mo or mukha mo. And pwede rin nila ito magamit para sa pag-angat nila, di ba? Kaya, maging maingat din tayo or maging responsable nga tayo sa paggamit ng technology natin. Next is replacement of jobs. So, replacement of jobs is pinapalitan na tayo ng technology. O pinapalitan tayo ng AI. Sila na yung parang gustong maging, kasi, di nang basta na-create yung AI eh. Kagaya kanina sinabi, create by mad scientists. So, replacement of jobs. So, example nga natin yan ulit yung ako, sports anchor ako. But, pinalitan ako ng AI. Yung replacement of jobs. Pinapalitan na tayo ng technology na gusto puro ng technology. Yung gumalaw, yung magtrabaho dito sa mundong ginagalawan natin. Papayag ba tayo ng ganun? Ganun lang. So, there are, sa facial recognition na tayo. So, there are various concerns about facial recognition, di ba? Such as misuse, racial bias, and restriction of personal freedom. So, the ability to track movements of activity quickly morphs into a lack of privacy. So, facial recognition, balik na tayo sa facial recognition na. Kasi minalimutan lang sabihin. Facial recognition also isn't foolproof and create bias in certain situations. Facial recognition is beneficial to us, make us to unlock phones, also mga cards. Pagbabayad sa groceries na sabi ko kanina. But what is technology can pick you out in a crowd? Imagine that app is na-trace pala yung na nagsisinungaling or ito pala example din Yung facial recognition na yun is pag hinarap sa yung camera, malaman yung nagsisinungaling ka, ano yung mood mo, di ba? So, yun nga yung sa may facial recognition. Sa replacement of jobs naman, yung papalitan ka na ng, pinapalitan na tayo ng mga technology, AI, then sila na yung gumagalaw sa mundo natin, sila na yung nagtatrabaho para sa atin or nagtatrabaho para sa mundo natin, di ba? Kasi malaking, malaking kawalan din sa atin. Once na yung tumagalaw na lang sa mundo is yung puro technology na lang. Paano naman tayo? Hihiga na lang ba tayo, di ba? So, next is health tracking. Una nga natin facial recognition. Pangalawa, replacement of jobs, then health tracking. So, when patients' health data are shared or linked without the patient's knowledge, autonomy is jeopardized. So, the patient may consult information due to lack of confidence in the security of the system having their data. So, sa health tracking din, papasok din dito yung personal details natin na pwedeng makuha din and also na pwedeng magamit din sa masama. Last dito sa use of AI is yung bias in AI technology. So, paano natin nasabing bias yung AI technology? So, because karaniwan one-sided yung technology or AI technology. So, hindi lahat ng info is pwede natin makuha through AI. Kaya mas mainam na alamin natin both history of one things. Paano naman yung human perspectives and beliefs natin. Kasi di ba, kunyari nag-search ka, yun lang yung lumabas. Nagiging bias. For example, kaya ito ng mga baba. Ano yung mga kaya? Ang mga gawain ba ito ay kaya lang, ay ano ang may kaya? Lumabas lalaki lang. But in real life, kaya rin ito ng mga babae, di ba? Nagiging bias yung AI technology sa hindi nila paglalabas ng full or ng both side na mga definitions or both side ng mga explanations. So, yung nga yung use of AI, facial recognition, facial recognition, yung ang pag-scan sa face natin na nagagamit niya sa masama, replacement of jobs also, and health tracking, and last is bias in AI technology. Last sa 5 ethical issues in technology is yung autonomous technology. Self-driving cars, robotic weapons, and drones for service are no longer a thing of the future. They are a thing of the present, and they come with ethical dilemmas. Robotic machines in place of human soldiers is a very real possibility, along with self-driving cars and package delivery via unmanned drone. Autonomous technology packs a punch when it comes to business potential, but there is significant concern that comes with allowing program technology to operate seemingly without needed oversight. It's a frequently mentioned ethical concern that we trust our technology too much without fully understanding it. So ito nga yun yung mga autonomous technology, yung gumagawa ng mga service para mapadali yung isang bagay or para makapagpagaan ng trabaho sa isang makapagpagaan ng trabaho. Excuse me. So kagaya nga dyan is yung robotic machines, human soldiers. It's very real possibility. So next is yung self-driving cars and package delivery via unmanned drone. So example, imagine nagda-drive ka, mahuhulog sa harap mo may mahuhulog sa harap mo kasi may kotse sa harapan mo, may mahuhulog siyang sakay, then ikaw ay nasa likod. Ano yung gagawin mo? Liliko ka ba sa right side mo na nandun yung nakasingle na motor? Nakasingle na motor na may helmet, or sa left side, sa right side mo na walang helmet? Di ba? Dito nagagana yung pag-decision making mo over the technology. Kasi doon pwede mo maisip na pwede mong ibang gana lang doon sa mismo nahulog para hindi maka-apekto sa dalawa. But paano pag may na-program sila sa self-driving cars na liliko sa kanan, liliko sa left para maiwasan yung mabunggo siya sa may nasa harapan ng mga laglag, di ba? What if biglang mabunggo yung walang helmet, doon niya iliko sa side na yun, di ba? Kaya kailangan natin ng fully understanding sa bawat technology na kine-create natin. Fully understanding kung makakasama ba ito. Fully understanding kung ano yung magiging epekto nito sa sa society natin. Actually sa ating mga tao, sa humanity, 'di ba? Kailangan natin ng maiging pag-aaral when we do or when we create a new inventions, technologies na sinasabing kesyo makakatulong sa mga tao, but lahat ng yun is may consequence. Kaya dapat pag-isipan nating mabuti, pag-aralan nating mabuti kung gagawa tayo ng mga new inventions. Sabi nga kanina, when humanity and technology cross, or technology and humanity cross. 'Di ba? Kasi dito sa mundong ginagalawan natin ngayon is hindi lang tao ay gumagalaw eh. Actually technology rin. Kami na kine-create ng mga robot, nag-deliver ng mga foods nila, 'di ba? Kasi suntok sa atin yun eh. Suntok sa atin kasi gagawa ng technology para mapadali daw yung mga gawain. But paano naman tayo, 'di ba? Na gusto lang magtrabaho, gustong kumita. Paano tayo mawawalan ng trabaho because sa mga technology na na-invent kaya? So that's it for my topic sa chapter 6, when technology and humanity cross. Okay? Thank you for listening. So again, I'm Mark DC Lusong and this is my topic. Thank you for listening.